Our discussion today of unconventional leadership styles is certainly meeting with the style of comedian Kyle Cease. Kyle calls himself a transformational comedian, and he's here today to help us transform just a little. Kyle, welcome to Smart Life. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, where did the
That was
messy
so fun.
kitchen go? You had a nice messy kitchen behind you, and it's all gone.
I know, I'm creating the illusion that I'm perfect because that's what gurus do, right? We have no flaws. So
I don't know,
there's,
but I definitely want to be invited to your Awesomeness Fest because I need a fest like that. I can't deny it. I think it sounds awesome.
oh, do you mean evolving out loud? That's my thing is evolving. Awesomeness Fest is another event that I spoke at, but still,
Oh,
that's
you
great.
spoke.
But if you want to go to Awesomeness Fest that someone else ran, we can get in a time machine and you can go see me 3 years ago doing it because I was great and you'll love it.
All right, we've got to get to your story because it's just crazy, to be completely honest with you. How you created your own success. You landed movie parts without a resume or a headshot. Talk to all the Hollywood wannabes right now, Kyle.
Well, I think that a lot of times we make the mistake in all of our life, no matter what we're doing, we make the mistake of thinking that we need something to make something happen. Like, if only I had this thing, I'll be happy. And the second you think that, the first thing that happens is you go into a place of lack because you're saying, I don't have that thing.
Mm.
I hope that a helicopter is literally flying over me the second we start this. Like, literally the second
That
a
is so, I
helicopter.
don't know how you arranged for that, but
Yeah, it's
it's.
weird. I don't even know why I would arrange for that. But we always think that when something happens, I'll be happy. And the truth is, when you're happy, things will happen. And
Oh.
when I was a little kid, I started doing comedy because I was too young to have learned how to be scared to do it. I started doing it when I was 12 years old. And when I was 15, I remember just thinking, oh, how do I make more money? How do I do this even bigger? Which is a different question than you ask when you're an adult. Because when you're an adult, you say, why me? And you get because you suck, because you always do the wrong thing. But when you're 15, I was like, how do I make more money? And I remember thinking, oh, I want to do corporate parties. So I asked my mom, Bambi. Her name's not Bambi. We call her that because she's a stripper and her mom was killed by a hunter. But I remember asking her, where did the where did the organizations meet up? And she told me about the Chamber of Commerce. And at 15, I just called the Chamber of Commerce, asked to get the mailing labels, and then I literally made a flyer said having a corporate party looking for entertainment, call Kyle Seats. And at 15, I was doing corporates for Sears, Nintendo, Microsoft, everything. And
Wow. I mean,
and
but that's okay. And I don't mean to be the the naysayer here, but that's a lot of talent. You can't just. I mean, I could go make the flyers I want all day long, but if my jokes aren't resonating with the people at Nintendo, I'm not gonna get the gig. So
sure.
there's a lot of God-given talent there, and recognizing really from a young age it seems exactly what your God-given talent was. So how do you know? Like, what if you're mid-30s right now and you can't really figure out what you're supposed to be doing in life?
Well, I'm of a very different belief than a lot of people, and that's that we're literally equal in almost all of our talents, except for like obvious physical ones. A 3 foot person might not have as easy of a time dunking a basketball. But when I was a kid, I was funny. I tell jokes, and people would laugh. Now, what if my mom had a headache when I told a joke? What if my dad just said, "You're not funny"? I would suddenly believe that. And there's been 4 friends in my life that were tone deaf when I started hanging with them. And then as they let go of their baggage and their stories, they actually started becoming more musical, could hear notes differently and all kinds of stuff. And I believe that our problem isn't that we're not talented enough, it's that we believe we're not talented enough. I
Interesting.
think that there's no question that if you show up and stay in the room, eventually you get good at anything. If you start writing a book, you'll just start and you might think, well, I don't know how to write a book. But who cares? If you keep writing, eventually you're going to clear out all these thoughts that are telling you you can't do stuff because you're coming from a consumer based world. You're coming from a mindset of fear. You've spent your whole day on Facebook seeing how many people like you, and you've spent the day going to Starbucks and trying to get. Well, when you start writing anything or doing anything, that that wanting to get part of your brain, the monitor will show up and get in the way of your writing. So if you keep writing, eventually that monitor will leave. And leaves, eventually you're in flow where it's just you connecting with yourself. You're speaking the same way you speak to a friend at a restaurant, the same way you just talk to a friend at a bar. You don't schedule it. You don't go, first I'll ask them if he has pets and ice cream. And I think that the truth is it's a matter of effortlessness. It's a matter of just playing. And that was how we were in our childhood state. If you play and just keep playing and stop checking how are my results, how many views did I get, how much money did I make, you will end up actually becoming way more profitable. But most people stay in situations they don't want because they're in fear and they'd rather, stay there. They'd rather money. You don't know how much money you're losing by staying in a situation you don't like. And so for me, I've discovered that getting into a playful state, I can talk forever because it's flowing through, but
I can tell. No, no worries. And so can I. So we could compete there. But no, this is the thing that I wonder though, because a lot of people they want to do what they want to do, but it might just. I mean, Kyle, let's be honest here. There are people who are doing things that they're really not talented enough to do, and they probably really shouldn't be doing. And they just keep doing them, and they're not coming out with the results. So at what point do you just say, okay, I guess that's not my calling? Because like you, and I know I'm no different on this than you are, I get letters and stuff from people every day who want to do something that I'm doing, whatever it is, whether it's a good nail filer or whatever it is. And I'm going, girl, you just are never going to be a nail filer. Do you know what I'm saying here? There are people who don't have the skills. How do they know when to cut their losses and move on? Because isn't that part of being successful?
well, I think that of course, that's definitely a thing, and I understand what you're saying. I think one of the factors for me of why people aren't necessarily good at something is because they're spending most of their time trying to get versus trying to evolve, trying to create. Like, in other words, like there's a lot of aspiring comedians, for instance. I'm a comedian, I've done it for 23 years, I've had 2 Comedy Central specials, I've done this forever. And there's a lot of comedians that when they start, they're spending more time on making sure everyone comes to their show versus actually allowing themselves to evolve. And I've watched people that get more and more. One thing that I think that people need to understand is that it's not a matter of getting somewhere else. It's a matter of letting go of every single thing that you're not to make room for what you're here to become. And so many artists, a lot of times, are spending so much time trying to find the agent, trying to find the right thing, trying to do this stuff,
True.
versus actually going back to that
And
state
just
that they
doing
were
it.
at when they were in
Yeah.
the restaurant playing and having fun.
Yeah.
And it's when I booked 10 Things I Hate About You and Not Another Teen Movie with no agent. Then I had an agent for 3 years and was in my head about not losing the agent. So in those 3 years, I didn't book anything, fired the agent, and booked 5 movies in 2 days after.
I have to concur on that. The agents haven't done me a lot of favors either. And the ABC role that I did get didn't come from an agent. And so it does make a huge difference. Neither did this job either, I
Right.
might add. So I think you're absolutely right about that. You can spend your time muddling in the conventional way things are to be done, or you can just go knock down walls and forget about barricades and make things happen. But there comes a time where we kind of need to act like adults. Where does that come into your play? Because I understand the importance of play, and I'm totally tracking with you on that. But when is it time to kind of grow up and be an adult?
So for me, I don't think that. I think that we're always children, and I believe that our natural state is children. And I find that for me, being in this playful state has become way more responsible, way more profitable. So for me, like I play all day, and then when I go on stage, it just makes me 2 feet higher. I don't spend all day going, how do I make this material this way, and how do I make this material this way? I
Mm-hmm.
play and play and play, and then when I go on stage, real stuff comes out of me. Now, most people will hear that and think, so just go on with no material. No, that's not what I'm saying. I definitely think you have to build a structure and get comfortable. But the ironic thing is, when you finally get there, you'll realize you're just back to how you were the rest of the day. And so, my big thing is this: my belief is you are what you love, not what loves you. And most people spend their life trying to be what people think of them. And that's the only cause of why you're nervous, of why you're trying to get, of why you perceive yourself to be in lack. If you go back to your childhood state of what you love, practice that all day. You practice playing with direction, it's with focus. That doesn't mean sit on the couch and watch TV all day. That's not the kind of thing I'm saying. I'm saying come from intention and actually understand that's your highest state. That's the best place. And you won't believe the results, because if you're trying to get results, that's actually in the way of your potential.
Well,
And
I've been telling my producer that I really need to bring my French bulldog on the set with me because he's what makes me happy. And so I think I'm just going to demand that. And I think you just talked me into it. So now I can blame you, and it all gels, right?
well, it's funny you say that, because some of my most memorable gigs I've ever had in my life were things that would seem to be like a problem. And what you just said about the dog is like, yeah, that's something original and fun and different. So I would, of course, say that. Now, most people think from a conventional way, and they go, "Well, you can't do that." Think
Right.
of the show Family Guy. At one point, those producers said, "What if we had Peter get into a fight with a chicken for 5 minutes?" Of course, old producers were like, "You can't do that." But the second they did, they broke a conventional barrier and took us to a farther place. I did a gig
I
once,
love
and
it.
there was a band behind me, and they caught on fire, and it was crazy. But then I just turned around and commented on it and did jokes about it, and it was things that you can't do. I did a show once in my pajamas because I was just too tired to put on my clothes, and there was all these people in suits, and I'm headlining in pajamas, and I'm doing
That's
something that people would
awesome.
say you can't do that. So
So tomorrow
yes,
it's in my pajamas with my bulldog, and it's all thanks to you, comedian Kyle Cease. Thank you for being with us today.
thank
We're
you
going
for
to have you back. You're a lot of fun.
votingoutloud.com.
All right, awesome. 888-650-8176 is the number. You can go to the Smart Life page too. Producer Jason waiting back there for you. Stay with us. More Smart Life right after this.